All right, and I'm live. What's up? What's up? Y'all know who it is. It's y'all's girl Ash. Y'all know the creator of Black Girl Interrupted. Coming to y'all live tonight. When I tell you tonight is so much needed for me. Um, Many of you know my father passed away March the 4th. So I had to take a break. I had to like really just kind of step back and really regroup myself and get myself together. I'm still dealing with it. It's a day by day thing, moment by moment, minute by minute. I tell anybody, this is definitely not a pain, that I would wish on anybody. Losing a parent um is the hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with. Um like I said, I had my moments. I haven't really had a chance to just really sit down and grieve. But of course, I had to come back into my safe place and just really it's hard, y'all. It's so hard. And I promise not to get emotional tonight. But tonight this episode is dedicated to my dad, William Joseph Pitts Jr. But before we even dive into tonight's topic, I need to do my mental health check-in. So drop in the comments and let me know how everybody's doing. I really missed y'all. I do want to say thank you. I love y'all. For all the continuous love and support that you guys have shown me. From day one. Like I say, I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody. Losing a parent is the most unimaginable pain. I really, if you ask me right now how I was feeling, I really wouldn't be able to tell you because I really don't know. Um, I don't know. It's really hard for me to explain what it's like to lose a parent. If you've never experienced it, I have to push through. Like I say, I had to come um back into my safe place. Of course, my anxiety is y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. I have my moments where I try not to think about it. I pray every day when I wake up that this is a horrible dream. Even when I went and had to identify his, for them to be able to release his body, it still didn't seem real to me. But to anybody that's tuned in, if you don't believe that COVID is real, it absolutely is. My father passed from COVID. Um, it's just, I don't know, y'all. I really feel lost. Um, like I said, I had to get back into what I love. And I really missed y'all. This has really become my safe space. This has become my sanctuary, where I know that I could be vulnerable with y'all without judgment. So I will have my moments, but like I said, y'all keep tapping in. Let me know how everybody's doing. Definitely gonna continue to do my mental health check-in. Hey Dre, good to see you. Much love to you too, love. Shout out to Big Brother Will. Hey, thank you. Y'all already know my girl Keisha's coming. She late. She running on CPT time. Um, so Dre says he's having a rough couple of days. He's hanging in there. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Push through. Um, I know it's easier said than done, but keep pushing. You got this. I believe in you. Y'all don't forget. Tap in with Dre on Monday nights. He has a podcast called Breaking the Stigma. You can find them on Facebook and you can find them on YouTube. Also, y'all don't forget to tap in with my brother Will, the ADHD Hour podcast on Sundays, and then he has the Black Male podcast on Sundays as well. 3 o'clock Central Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. I hope I said that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dre says, praying for your love, my condolences. I absolutely need them. Like I say, some days are better than others. Like I say, my father passed away March the 4th from COVID. Um, it was quick. Um, and I hate to say it like that, but it was. My father he had caught COVID back like the early part of February. And he wasn't getting any better, so he went back to the doctor. The doctor prescribed him a different type of medication. My father collapsed in Walmart. He ended up going into the hospital through the emergency room. Doctor told me, they said, by the time he got there, his oxygen was real low. And his heart rate was low. So they immediately put him on oxygen and immediately administered medication, excuse me, for him. She said his oxygen continued to drop. So they had to intubate him. They had to, put a tube down his throat and put him on a respirator. And in spite of all of that, his oxygen was still continuing to drop. His heart was weak. The moment she told me my father had passed away, it was almost like I didn't hear anything that she was saying. I believe she said he coded 2 or 3 times. And, my father's heart was just not strong enough. So she said they did all that they could do. So my father passed March the 4th. And it's definitely been a struggle for me. Like I say, every day I wake up and I pray that I'm going to wake up from this horrible nightmare. Yesterday, went to pick out the casket, and that's when reality set in. So I tell anybody, love everybody like like today is your last day, because you never know when people are going to leave. Losing a parent, like I say, it's been the hardest thing that I've had to deal with. I have my mom left. That's all I have left. My dad is gone, but I just have to keep going. I have to push through. Good to see you, Will. Hey, brother. So yes, I just, like I said, I just wanted to jump on, and I wanted everybody to know that I appreciate all the continuous love, the prayers, all the condolences, all the phone calls. I appreciate all of that. It meant so much to me. Um, it's a lot. Like I say, it's a lot for me to deal with, but every day. Um, hey, let's get it, GA. Thank you, love. Thank you so much. Um, just pray for us. Keep us close to your hearts, because it's a struggle. Like I say, losing a parent, like I say, it's the most unimaginable pain I could ever think about. Like I say, I can't tell you what it feels like. I can't describe how I'm feeling. I feel lost. That's one of the things. I feel so lost. Um, some, I want to pick up the phone and I want to call him and tell my daddy I love him, but I can't. But I know, even though he's gone in body, he is gone in spirit. So shout out to you. Oh, hold up. My sis on the way. She is on the way. She was just like, no, sis, you can't do this alone. So on the way, on the way, on the way. Y'all pray for me. I promise. But tonight, like I say, I know I'm behind on the episodes, but I promise you, it's going down tonight. We are absolutely gonna address some issues that we've been dealing with. So we waiting on sis. So y'all continue to drop in the comments. I'm still doing my mental health check-in. Um, Again, mental health is important. It's something that we don't discuss in the African American community. But so we have to keep pushing it. We have to keep it on the forefront, because a lot of black men and black women were suffering in silence. So as we wait on sis to come in, I'm gonna jump right on in tonight. But keep dropping your comments. Let me know how everybody's doing. So tonight, we are addressing trauma. It's time to unpack those suitcases. It's time to be able to decipher the clean clothes from the dirty clothes. I'm here tonight. We addressing that trauma. It's time for us to let it go. It's time for us to heal. It's time for us to walk like the kings and queens that we are. So, uh, y'all have to bear with me. Like I say, oh, you popped up all bright and sunny. So,
Mhm. I'm
there we go. Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? No, you can't hear me? Let's see. Can y'all hear me? Did I go out? Did I wait? Hold on. Y'all bear with us. We having some technical difficulties right now. You can hear me? That's something on your end. You can't. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know, can y'all hear me? Let's see. I'm trying to make sure. I think we're having some. Let me know, can y'all hear me? Okay. You can't hear me? That's you. You can hear me? I can't hear you though.
What about now?
There we go. Perfect.
All right. We in
There
business.
we go. Oh, you look so pretty.
Trying to
So
see.
so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Kesh on and she.
We can't hear you.
What about now?
Perfect. Now we can hear you.
I am Kesh on and She-Eo of Kolours by Kesh Cosmetics. Y'all can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And yeah, you know,
And I'm rocking the queen tonight.
and I am rocking the most.
Because I think I am a queen. Tonight is the night for me to act like a king, walk like a queen, dress like a queen, despite everything that has happened to me in these last couple of weeks. Um,
Hey Dre, I'm sorry. Hey y'all.
so I've already jumped into tonight's topic. We are addressing trauma. So we are unpacking those suitcases. It's time for us to heal. As I stated before, we suffer. You know, we carry so much trauma from our childhood into our adulthood. So tonight is the night where we start part one of two in regards to it's time to unpack those suitcases. So any trauma that you have, y'all already know it's a safe place. Y'all know no drama. Y'all know no judgment. Drop in the comments and let me know because y'all already know I'm open, I'm vulnerable, and I'm sharing all my trauma. I'm unpacking my suitcases tonight. So jumping on into the question. Trauma. What
Trying to
defines it?
fix my camera.
So trauma, sis, what defines it?
Trauma is one of those experiences that you can't forget, and it causes like grudges, i.e., myself. I've been through some trauma. God rest his soul with my father, and it's not too much that I want to speak on, but It bring back some memories. But trauma is one of those things, like, if you press something so hard, and after you finish pressing it so hard, it just leaves a mark. That's my definition of trauma. Some traumatic experience that just would leave a mark on you, you know, like mine cause insecurities, low self esteem, and just some other things. But that's my definition of trauma. It's just like a pressing stamp on your emotions. Yes,
So Miss so Mr. Petty says trauma can have many definitions.
it definitely
Drop
can.
in the comment, Mr. Petty, what's your definition of trauma?
Oh yeah, I can't get my camera right.
You're so pretty tonight, sis.
Oh sis, you are too. You're beautiful, especially with that lipstick.
But I before we even proceed, I want to say to you tonight, I want to thank you and your husband for being there for me from day one, from the moment I got the phone call. I really don't know where I would be without you and your husband. So I thank you. I thank you for continuing to push me and encouraging me to come back into my safe space, come back to a Black Girl Interrupted, because I really was about to let her go.
No, it's just like, that's what friends are for. I don't see why wouldn't I, we family. I don't see why wouldn't I not be there. And from someone who's experienced, can relate to losing a parent, and somebody who I'm not gonna leave you out there by yourself, because I know what it is to have support during these times, and I know where your emotions can take you. Your emotions could take you in these little dark places. And fortunately, like, I had people around me. So yes, you need this is your safe place, but at the same time, y'all, I wanted Ashley to have time to grieve. I wanted her to get a break from BGI to grieve, because we all have to have that moment to ourselves. Because when you don't grieve, you become angry, you become just like, and you don't want to be lonely. So yes, I wanted my girl to grieve, and I was so happy to see her, and I couldn't wait till she got to Atlanta so I could give her the biggest hug. And unfortunately, our trip wasn't supposed to go like that. It wasn't supposed to be under these circumstances. But I'm glad I was able to do something to take her mind off of anything. It's even if you was talking about the guy with the pissy drawers in the hotel. Just I wanted her to have that moment. I don't care if you gotta cry in the midst of it. Have that moment to yourself. Get your mind right, cause like I said, losing the parent is never easy. And I have one parent left, and I'm trying to cherish it, just like you. I wasn't prepared for that, and I had my moment to grieve. Ever since Ashley lost her father, she has been moving nonstop, and I wanted my girl to have a moment to herself. I don't care if she called me and we stayed on the phone all night. I may have was like, let me get these kids together, but I was there and I wanted her to have this moment. So for her to do this tonight, like I told her, I didn't have to plan my daddy funeral. She did. And that's the strongest thing I ever seen somebody do, just to have to plan a funeral for your parent.
I just, I'm traumatized. I just, like I say, I wake up every day hoping that this is a dream. Every day.
Hey, K-Style.
Hey, Key Styles. I mean, Dre, you hit it on the head. An event that affects you mentally and physically. I'm traumatized. I'm devastated. You know, when I got the phone call that my father had passed away, that was definitely not the phone call. I mean, like, my anxiety just immediately went through the roof because I knew that time was coming. I just wasn't expecting it to be this soon. I'll say that. I knew it was coming. And like I say, I'm just, if you, like I say, if you ask me right now how I felt, I really couldn't tell you because I don't know. I'm I really try to take I really try not to think about it. I haven't had a moment where I've just sat down and just cried or whatever you're supposed to do. I haven't had that moment. I'm moving because I want to stay busy. Um, I really do. I don't want to sit still. Even in my darkest moments, like I say right now, I really feel like I'm in a tunnel with no flashlight. So I had to come back to Black Girl Interrupted because Black Girl Interrupted is everything to me. My supporters are everything to me. My viewers are everything to me. And I knew you guys understood. You know, I knew you guys understood. But this is my safe space. This is where I'm able to talk. This is where I'm able to get everything out. So me deciding to go ahead and talk about trauma tonight is needed for me. It's much needed for me. It's much needed for my viewers, my supporters, because we all have gone through some type of trauma, whether it's the loss of a loved one, i.e., a parent, a child, a sibling, a close friend, things that we've carried from our childhood. You understand? So this is why I had to come back to Black Girl Interrupted tonight because I'm 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 definitely traumatized. But my father played a major role in the issues that I carried into my adulthood. So Dre says salute. Thank you, Dre. And Q, we're definitely gonna get into that. He said post traumatic is my definition of trauma. We're definitely gonna get into that. Into post traumatic stress syndrome. Hey Nikki. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Nikki says, I definitely know how you feel. Eric and I have lost both parents now. I remember when your father passed. That's my beauty shop girl right there. I remember when your father passed away. And then I remember when you posted about your mom. So it's like I say, it's the most indescribable feeling ever. Like I say, I wouldn't dare wish this pain on anybody. I would not. I definitely would not. K Style says, I hate to hear that, Ash. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But like I say, because of y'all, I had to come back. Because I wasn't going to come back to Black Girl Interrupted until next week. And then I was like, I don't even want to do it at all. But I had to come back. So thank y'all so much for being so patient and supportive. And like I said, Keish, thank you. And Antonio, which is Terror Artist Full, for just loving me, y'all, the way that y'all do. And just being my rocks, my rock that I needed it. I, Yes, me coming to Atlanta under those circumstances was not, but God does things for a reason, so I don't question. I don't question. Herbalist says he knows how I'm feeling. He lost his mom in September. I remember that post. My condolences and
I'm
prayers to
so
you as
sorry.
well. And he told me, he said, cry, let it out. It's like I want to go to a boxing ring and just, I want to hit a punching bag so hard. I just want somebody to feel what I'm feeling right now. So we got to do the show. So trauma. What trauma means to me is, like I say, the most devastating thing that just sticks with you. Something that happens in your life that stays with you, that you carry, and it almost like it becomes like your security blanket, your safe space. Is what my trauma did for me. Um, it turned me into the most horrible person you could ever think of. Um, and although, like I say, my father is gone, um, I did have a lot of issues in regards to him. My father was an absent parent. Um, no, he was not active in my life. Um, and the times that he was there, my father was abusive to me. So in tune, that's why I stayed and went in and got in these abusive relationships. But, like I say, my father was, y'all excuse me, my tears is just running down my face. Um, and I carried that to the point where I inflicted that same trauma on my children. No, I'm not proud of it. Absolutely, I'm not proud of it. Um, my father, like I say, he molested my sister. So that was pain that I had to carry because I knew every time my sister looked at me, she saw my dad. So we had a strained relationship. But this is the hardest pill I've had to swallow, y'all. This is the hardest suitcase I've ever had to unpack. But in order for me to continue on with my healing process, I got to separate these dirty clothes from these clean clothes. So I have to unpack these suitcases. I have to. So, sis, this is one of the questions that I came up with. Where does trauma come from? Is it inherited? So
Uh,
this is a two-part question. So y'all drop in the comments and let me know, where does trauma come from? And is it possible that it could be inherited?
Trauma is just like your own experience. Can it be inherited? For my, it's a tricky question because you don't know what other people going through. But for me, no, because you have to experience trauma. You have to experience that. But like I said, I don't. It's crazy because I don't even know how to answer that question.
So you don't think, because there is a such thing as generational trauma. So trauma can very much be inherited.
So
I'm
can
an
it? All
Go
right.
ahead.
So is it inherited based on? Okay. So say for instance, you have this continuing thing within the family, right? But what if it's being inflicted upon by one person? So if it's not inflicted on to this one person, it skips this generation. Is it then trauma? Curses.
Will says it could be passed from generation to generation, as in generational curses. My Let me share my story. So I had daddy issues. I had abandonment issues. So I wanted people to hurt because my father hurt me. So in tune, I inflicted that pain on my children. So in tune, my son inflicted that pain on my daughter. It's like a revolving door. And at some point, somebody has to stop that. At some point, somebody has to own it and say, you know what? This is why you're the way that you are, because I made my children carry my pain that they didn't cause. So it in a roundabout way, yes, it could be you can inherit somebody's trauma because of the way that they've inflicted their trauma on you. And it may not be intentional. You know, my me inflicting the pain on my children was not intentional. But I did it. I forced them to carry this because I wanted everyone to hurt the way that I hurt. So everybody around me was going to hurt because I was hurting, because I couldn't directly get to the person that hurt me. So you go around and you hurt the people around you. Some people do it unintentional, some people do it intentional. Depending on how you caught me, it could go both ways. It could be intentional, it could be unintentional. But I intentionally inflicted pain on people around me because I was hurting. Because I didn't know how to channel my hurt. I didn't know how to channel my pain other than to lash out at people, other than to take whatever you tell me and I use it as a weapon against you. I was a horrible person. I'm not going to stand here, I'm not going to sit here and like I've just been. No, I was horrible. I was horrible to my children. And hence, you see, I'm mending the relationship with my children because, again, I made my children carry suitcases that they didn't ask for. So can it be passed from one person? Yes.
Yeah.
Where does trauma come from? It could come from a traumatic experience in your life. It could come from a family member. It could come from a friend. It could come from a significant other. And then you carry it on. That's like, for example, if we're in a relationship and we go and we've been cheated on, we start to treat every man the same because of what the last man did, and vice versa. Women, we do the same, men do the same thing. If a woman has hurt them, they try to make the woman pay for what the last woman did. Again, it just goes on and on and on until at some point somebody has to break the cycle. But we carry this and we hold, and I'm only speaking for me. I held on to this pain because it was safe, because I didn't know what it was like to be happy. I never knew what it was like for a man to love a woman because I never saw that. I never saw a healthy relationship. My father he tried to kill my mother. My father was a womanizer. He dealt with multiple women, had multiple children. So I didn't know what it was like. So can it be inherited? Absolutely. I'm still trying to fix the mess that I made. I'm cleaning up the mess that I made with my children. And they're now 20, 18, and 11. And I'm trying to make it right before my eyes close. So that's what I mean when I say we got to unpack these suitcases. We got to let this trauma go. Because when you carry this, it affects you mentally. It affects you physically, emotionally. So it's time for us to let this go. It's time for us as black men and black women We have to release this pain that we've been carrying all these years. Because we do carry this to our children. We do, and then our children will carry it to their children. So at some point we have to own up to that. We gotta say, you know what? I did that. I was a horrible mother to my children. You want to know why? Because all I thought about was me. It was all about Ashley. If it wasn't about me, it wasn't about shit. I love the fact of being a mother, but I didn't know how to be a mom. No, I said that wrong. I loved being a mom, but I didn't know how to be a mother. Because God can make anybody a mom. God can make anybody a father. But I didn't know how to be. I couldn't love them because you want to know why? Because I didn't love me. And I blamed everybody. It was everybody's fault but mine. I would go around and I would create all these thunderstorms, and I would do everything, and then got pissed off when it started to rain. Like it was somebody else's fault. So in order for me to heal, I had to go back to the beginning. I had to go back to the root of where my trauma started. And that was with my dad. Because he caused this. Even now that he's gone. My mama told me the other day, Ashley, you gotta let that anger go.
I had, I'm very familiar with it because it was my daddy who caused mine. Um, my dad, my dad was on drugs. My dad was on drugs, and I remember one day, you know, in the class, and he would come back. He was so angry, and I used to catch whoopings, and I, for the life of me, did not understand why. Why was I being punished? And he would treat me like, clean up. I'm young at the time. Clean up. Make sure you clean the baseboards. He would just come back so angry, and it would continue. And then I finally got an understanding as to why. He wasn't getting what he wanted to get as far as drugs. And when he come back, he would take it out on me. And this will continue, and it made me grow so much anger towards him. Towards him. Um, Me and my dad, our relationship was rocky for a moment. And I'm telling this story because by the time I forgave him, we had an understanding. But to me, I felt like it was too late because I wanted to get to the root of it. I wanted to know why, you know. But instead, it took for me to grow up because it took me a long time to forgive him for like whooping my ass for no reason. Just because you didn't like my side of the family. And I'm gonna have to put this out there. I know it may get back to whoever, but this is me. My dad have other kids. Me and one of them are around the same age. I felt like they didn't like me because my mom is not their mom. I'm definitely not the one who will hold my tongue. And I will speak on how I feel. But it was one thing. At the end of the day, I love my dad. I developed patience with him when I had kids because it was to the point where I would tell my dad, I hope you die. I hope you die. That's how angry I was with him. I didn't care what I told him. So, in about 4 days, it would be exactly 3 years since my dad has passed. And them days, 3 years ago today, probably. I remember him sitting in Ashna, you know, after they then came and told us there's nothing we can do at this point. I did not want to come over here. Um, I came to the conclusion, and everybody had left out in the room, and I took it upon myself to say, you know, no matter what we went through, I still love you. You know, I never understood why we went through this, but you know, I still love you. He was like, I love you back too, mama. And at that point, I think I released myself with so much anger because it's okay. At this point, I had kids of my own, and I think I learned something from this relationship with my dad, and that was to love my kids, um, and actually love my kids. Like I said, he had kids here, kids there. I already felt like, you know, that was his favorite. So for him, it felt weird. And I'm gonna stop talking. It felt weird because I felt like the closer he got to his death, we were starting to work things out. He then came out here. He's seeing my son. Dre was a couple of days old. 2018 he came out. All of a sudden, yeah, I didn't need a TV, but he come and bring me out like a 65-inch TV and just bringing me this stuff. And that was September 2018. No, 2017. And March, February is when we got the news. And I remember my dad looking out the window. And it was crazy because it's like he forgave me, or he felt like I forgave him, and he felt free. So my trauma I had towards my daddy, it was for a long, long time. And that didn't go away until his death. Until his death, I felt like it could have been more that got resolved. But at that point, you know what? It's okay. Sometimes you gotta let that hurt go. So for your mom to tell you that, it kind of triggered because I had to let it go.
I think I'm more angry because I felt like we had more time. You know, the last time I spoke with my father was November, and the conversation didn't end well. Um, although I had told him that I had forgiven him, deep down I really hadn't. You know, I wanted my daddy close to me, and I begged, you know, and he had been in and out of the hospital. And I think what hurt the most is that other people were telling me that he was in the hospital. And so I called him, you know, and was fussing. And he said, don't talk to me like that, or something he said. And I just immediately got upset. And I told him, I said, well, you know, Daddy, I love you. I pray for you, but you let your other bastard children take care of you. I'm done. And I hung up the phone and blocked him. He texted me for New Year's and for Christmas. I never even responded. When I found out my father had COVID, I didn't even pick up the phone to call. to check on him because I was still so angry at him. I really truly was. I was very angry with him. And I think that's the part that hurts the most, is that we still had unresolved issues. You know, when I lived with my daddy in California, my daddy beat me to the point I ended up in the emergency room. The police got involved. I was almost put in foster care. He told my mother flew to California to come and get me. And the judge asked, was my mother there? And he told them no. And my mother was there. They were about to take me into foster care. And he never even apologized to me. So that's my trauma. You know, the fact that I was in an abusive relationship. The fact that this man threw boiling water on me. It devastated me. So I carried that pain. When I had my son, I just knew that was the most beautiful time of my life. But I still wasn't a mother. You know, when I had my daughter, they were with my mom because I wanted to run the streets. I told my son that I hated him. I wish I never would have had him. Again, I made my son carry this pain. I did that. My daughter, I called her a bitch. My baby girl, I blew a head gasket. Like I blew up at my daughter. My baby girl. And put her out of my house. I made her go stand outside on the porch in the cold. So when I tell y'all, trauma is real. Was it easy for me to have to go back to the beginning to heal? No. Because that pain was safe for me. It became my crutch. And at some point, I had to take accountability for that. I had to unpack that suitcase. Because I'm still lugging it around. I still got these dirty clothes mixed in with these clean clothes. Still. So yeah, you can inherit that. You can pass that from one generation to the next, and that's why I vowed to my children. I had to fix this relationship with my children because I don't want my children to carry this to their children. I want to be a grandmother to my babies when my children have children. I want them to see the healed grandmother, not the broken one. So that's why it's imperative for us tonight to unpack those suitcases. So Dre says, yeah, he said, me and my dad didn't have the best relationship. He said it contributed a lot to my trauma growing up. Therapy is helping so I could be a better man for my son. Absolutely. It's not just us black women, black men too. So this platform is for you men and us women, where we can sit and we can heal together. That's what Black Girl Interrupted is about. We're here to break and stop these interruptions. We have to. Thank you, Michael. This been for me. Therapy right there for the people that tune in. This is therapy for us. So at some point, y'all, we have to have these conversations. At some point, we have to have these conversations. We have to talk about trauma because we carry, like I say, we carry this pain, and we make everybody around us miserable because we're sad, we're bitter, and it affects relationships. That really takes me into um my next question. How does trauma affect your life? And when I say life, I mean relationships. How does it affect you mentally, physically, emotionally? This is all what contributes to mental illness is trauma. This is what contributes to it. But we don't know because we're too afraid to have these conversations. And the reason why we're so afraid to have these conversations is because our their mothers told them whatever goes on in this house, it stays in this house. And then you wonder why you have these broken little boys and these broken little girls that grow up to be emotionally detached men and women. So absolutely. These are conversations that we're going to continue to have. How are we supposed to heal if we don't talk about it? When does it stop? Take a deep breath, sis. It's powerful. This is powerful.
I know my trauma caused my low self-esteem. And to this day, do I still have my moments? Yes. Yes.
So when you
And
no,
go
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sis.
it it made me feel like that I couldn't do nothing right because again in the beginning I didn't know why it was being done to me. I mean, I'm young. I'm chilling. It then nothing would be clean enough. So I'm getting my ass whooped because something not clean enough. So I didn't want to be seen because I was embarrassed.
My trauma affected me, all four of those. It affected my relationships because, like I say, I looked in men for love because I wanted that father figure. Like I say, my father was not active in my life.
Right.
So I looked for love in all the wrong places. I stayed in relationships that I knew I should not have stayed in. It affected me mentally. You know, it took a toll on me physically and emotionally. I became emotionally checked out. I came to the point where, like I say, I was a bitch. I would intentionally hurt people because I wanted people to hurt just like me. So that trauma, it devastated me. I carried it with me for 30 plus years. And to the point where when I had my children just picked up the suitcase that I had dropped and I made them carry. I made my children wear them dirty clothes and my children were clean. And when I say the dirty clothes, the pain. I made them wear the pain. I made my children wear the hurt. I made my children wear the anger. It got to a point where I was going in and out of jail, fighting with my mom. You know what I'm saying? I'm going from 0 to 1,000. I didn't have a medium. That's how the trauma affected me. Because I couldn't get to the person that hurt me. I couldn't get to the people that hurt me. So everybody had to pay. Everybody had to pay. You could tell me something about you, and the moment you pissed me off, I was using it as a weapon to hurt you. I would just hold things in and it would just pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up. And you could ask me a simple question and I'm exploding like a volcano. That's what my trauma did to me. I was very promiscuous. You know, I was a drinker to deal with the pain. That's what that trauma did to me. I'm always anxious. So, sis, out of those four, when in regards to trauma, which one did it affect you the most?
Mentally, emotionally. So physically, I already had a problem, y'all. I already think I'm fat. But however, it definitely affected me mentally. Like I said, it affected my esteem. I felt like I couldn't do nothing right. Emotionally, I became, which is why depression, you know, at a young age, I'm over here thinking about killing myself because I couldn't do nothing right. I never understood.
So let me ask you, so as you got older, sis, and you started to get into relationships, did it affect any of your relationships?
I became insecure. Insecurity killed me. Now, you might get that good guy, who would take advantage of him, and one of them did. Like I said, at a young age, I was stupid as hell. I act like I couldn't let him go, and he knew that,
Right.
and he played on my emotions. And it's because of the way I look, low self-esteem. I was very insecure about myself. And the one guy that wanted me, I was just like, okay.
Mm.
So I would not want to go back that way because it was very hard to deal with it. When you look at it and you think about it now, it was very hard. Because if I knew then what I knew now,
Mm.
I wouldn't give him the time of day. I would make sure I gather myself mentally. You all right. Because if I knew about pep talks, ain't nothing wrong with giving yourself a pep talk.
Right.
Girl, you got this. You look good. Sometimes you have to gas yourself up. You got this. Look at you. You owning your own business, doing this. You don't need nobody. It was that point I act like I needed a boyfriend. I did.
Mm.
So yeah, that was
So let
that.
me ask you this. So how was your relationship with your mom? Did you ever sit down and express to your mom how you felt in regards to your dad?
Yes, I did. I did. And sometimes, you know, I just felt like My mom, she wouldn't understand because at this point she's, she thinking, he just chastising me. That's what I thought she looked at it as. But for the longest after that, oh, I love my mom to death. Don't get me wrong, but I could not live with her and my dad. Since then, I live with my brother and his wife. So I could not live with my mom and my dad.
It's like when it comes to, and like I say, all of it is not just on my dad. He was a big chunk of it. And then, of course, my mom. Um, and, again, this is just my perspective and the way I saw things. I always felt like my mother treated me and my sister differently,
Right.
because of what my dad did to my sister. And I always felt like I was a reminder, you know. Um, I always felt like my mom compared me and my sister, oh, like in regards to, oh, you should be more like her because, I was the wild one. I was the no nonsense type. You get what I'm saying? I was the one that was very vocal.
Mm-hmm.
I was the rambunctious one. I went against the grain. That was me. So I always felt like my mom treated us differently. Um, you know, like I said, I love my mom. She's all I got left. Um, and I would love to mend my relationship with her because I feel like there were some things that I felt like my mom should have done and maybe been there a little more. I'm not saying she wasn't there, but I feel like maybe she should have done a little more, for me. Um, and I won't say like coddle me or baby me, but at some point I just wanted her to be my mom, you know, listen to me for once. And I felt like she never listened. When I tried to express to her and explain to her these things, it was, oh well, that's your dad. If no, not all of it was my dad. Like I say, my mom may not be all of it, but she's part of it. And that's a conversation that I know I have to sit down and have with her in order for me to fully heal. I believe that that's the last suitcase that I have to unpack. And then, I was not told directly, but it was said that she doesn't want to mend her relationship with me.
Reason?
So it's, how do I deal with that? You know, because it's not just about me. My children are in the middle. I had a conversation with my son, and my son was like, I wish you and Granny would fix it. I'm willing. I'm willing to mend that relationship with her. I'm a lot more mature now, and I can own a lot of things. See, back then I couldn't. Like I said, I held on to that pain purposely. That pain was my safe space. That pain was all I knew. Hurt was all I knew. Anger was all I knew. So I didn't know what it was like to really truly be happy because of these traumatic events that had happened in my life. I didn't know that wasn't how a man was supposed to love a woman. I allowed the man to mistreat me, disrespect me, mentally, physically, and emotionally abuse me because I thought that was the way. So those were my issues. And like I say, I forced my children to carry this same pain. I forced them to the point where now my son has become numb. It's almost like my son is like, it's whatever, however it goes. He's not tripping. And like I say, I've sat down and I've had conversations with my son and my daughter, especially my son, because my son is like the hardest one to break, because again, my son, he's numb to it all. He's like, it's whatever, I don't feel anything. But one of the things that my son did say, I want all of us to be in therapy. So, I'm down for that.
You're right.
And that's why I say I can't stress this enough, that it's okay to see a therapist. It's okay to want to mend the relationship with loved ones, because you don't know when their time is coming or your time is coming. We have to stop this. Like I say, these are things that we've carried on since the beginning. Like I say, it starts in the home. We were, what goes on in this house, it stays in this house. So we as women, we had to be strong. Little boys weren't allowed to cry and display any emotion, because they were told that if they cried, that they were weak. They were considered weak. And then you wonder why these men don't open up to us women. And we as women, we got to own that too. Because some of us have raised our sons to be mama's boys and not allow them to display any type of emotion. So we women, we got to eat that. We got to own that. Men too. Y'all got to own that. We as women, like I say, we were taught to be strong because our mothers told us, our grandmothers told us, their mothers told us, you don't depend on nobody. You stand on your own 2 feet. You do this, you do that. So we carry that. So we don't allow men to be men in the relationship because we want to do both. That's trauma. How do you expect to have a healthy relationship if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to unpack those suitcases? How? How do you expect to heal? We as women, we have to stop blaming this person and that person. We have to stop pointing fingers, and at some point you got to go stand in the mirror and say, you know what? I got to eat this. Men the same way. Own the fact that you're dead, if you walked out of your children's life, own that. Because the children suffer. The mom suffer or the dad suffer. However the situation goes, we suffer. And we're forcing our children to carry pain that they didn't sign up for. We use our children as pawns in games. So women, your trauma, we can't carry that into the next relationship because of what the last man did.
Right.
Men.
You're not going to be happy.
Right. And men, you can't carry that trauma to your next relationship because of what the last woman did. Every person is different. But you got to put in the work to heal. You got to want to be better. You got to want to to heal from your traumatic experiences that you've gone through in life. Stop intentionally hurting people. Stop using that as a crutch. Free yourself. Break those chains, break those bands that have held you back for so long. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. Men and women, black men, black women, black girls, black boys. Yo, we gotta break this. At some point, it's got to stop somewhere. So why not let it start with us? So I mean, that goes back to, like I said, where does the trauma come from? Is it inherited? Yeah, absolutely. And it's unfair to make someone carry luggage or suitcases, let me say that, suitcases that they didn't pack, but you're making them carry them. We carry them. I want to heal. I want to be the best Ashley that I know I could be. I want to present myself as fixed and healed, not broken and bitter. That's what I want to do. So when it comes to this trauma, baby, let me tell you, I got my artillery on and I'm ready. I'm ready
Okay.
to fight the war because I know I could win the battle.
Okay.
So sis, what about you?
Oh, I'm ready. I look up. Self healing is real, and that's what I did. So I'm getting it. It's real, but whenever it presents itself, sis, I'm like you. It is footsteps. I'm stopping. Sorry, got my camera tripping, so I just left it like this. But it stopped. And then on the plus side, my lash just fell off because I was over here crying. So
So let me ask you, sis, what's the hardest part of you letting go of that trauma? What's the hardest part?
you know, we all want answers to something. The hardest part of letting it go was like I wanted to find out why was it taking place in the first place. Like everybody, we ask the questions about other these things. Why does this goes on in our family? Why is it that we can't break this cycle? What is it that I've done to you for you to do this? So letting it go, some questions went unanswered. A conversation was not had. That was the hard part of letting it go. Because I wanted to know why.
So before your father passed, did you get that closure that you needed?
No, I did not. Because if we go before Dre, you know, 2016, 2015, before that, we were still in a hard place. So it definitely went, I did not get the closure. Then it is like, at this point, during his death, we're going to let bygones be bygones. You know,
Okay.
that's what it was like. You know, just know I love you. You know what? I want you to go in peace. I don't want you to go thinking like, my daughter hate me, because I don't hate you. Those words were said out of anger. So I did not get the closure, but I wanted him to go in peace, and I just let him know that I loved him. And just a quick story, you guys. So prior to my daddy passing, I left 2 days before. I was on the road by myself to go see him, you know, me and the baby. Um, 2 days later, my dad left. He died. He left me, and I just felt like this was my interpretation. He waited for me to leave, to pass, because he knew I was going to be an emotional wreck and he did not want me to be on the road.
Mm.
So I asked him to call me on Facebook, and it's crazy. And I don't know how that goes. And what I mean by that, I don't know what happens with your muscles and your joints after you pass. So I said, Daddy, I love you and I'm going to miss you. And it just like that one jump before he actually was just gone, just with him acknowledging that he heard me. Because everybody was just like, Mama, he moved like he heard you, and he couldn't say anything. And that right there put my heart in a different place. When he was there, it's like he did not want to be around nobody but me. And that was shocking. He didn't want no, he talked to everybody, but when he talked to me, it was different. It was from a place of love. It's from a place of like, I'm leaving my baby behind,
Mm-hmm.
so let me have this conversation. It was from a different. It was. I loved it, but I hated to see him go because I wanted to cherish that, you know. And I don't know if a lot of you all know, when people get ready to pass, they start losing their memory, and he was still a jackass because he pretended he didn't know who I was, and he was like, "Okay, mama, go sit down somewhere." Like, why you playing with me, bald head? Because my daddy didn't have no hair. He was still trying to shave, but he couldn't. But for him to have those moments with me is something I cherish. When I say I love you, he didn't say I love you back to nobody else but me. So that was it. That put my heart in the right place. And I knew at that point I had to let it go and let my dad go in peace. And he knew I loved him and I knew he loved me.
So
So
do you? No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that's it. Sister.
So let me ask you: do you think that was his way of telling you he was sorry?
I think so. I think so, but I still wanted answers. But I do think so. Um, like I said, and this episode plays in my head over and over again of my dad looking out the door, looking up at the sky. At that time, they transferred him home to be in hospice. So this is like I said before I left, and he was just like, you got a family, you got a car, you got a husband, and me and Tony wasn't married yet, but he was like, what I need to be here for? I seen everything I needed to see. You know, you doing good and stuff like that. So him just acknowledging that is something that I've been waiting for. So him finally acknowledging some things, I think that was his way of apologizing and something like that. For him to tell me he loved me in a time where you don't know who nobody is, I was fine. Fine. It was hard. It was hard. because I knew when I left that was gonna be my last kiss. So it was hard.
You know, as we go on with these episodes, it makes it easier for me to unpack those suitcases. It absolutely does. You know, being able to know the root of my trauma and being able to discuss my trauma, it makes things a little easier for me. Am I angry with my father for the things that he did? Hurt, maybe. I think I'm more hurt than anything. And when we talked, and you know, like I say, I had to have the most difficult conversation with him. You know, I had to ask the most difficult questions ever. You know, did you do this? You know, did you molest my sister? Did you do this? And I had to mentally prepare myself for the truth or a lie. But I needed that peace and I needed that closure for me. Did I get the peace? Somewhat. Did I get the closure? Not so much, because I feel like he was very conflicting in his answer. You know, at one point I almost thought my sister was lying. You know, why, you know, my daddy wouldn't do that to you, know, because that's what he said, you know, and in my mind I wanted to believe that this never happened. In my mind I wanted to believe that my father was perfect. In my mind I wanted to believe that everything my mom was saying about him was a lie. You know, I wanted to believe that because I wanted my daddy. And it was almost like I walked on eggshells because that little piece of relationship I had with him, I didn't want to lose. So when I got that, and as I, like I said, as I got older, it got better. And then I came to the realization, you know what, I'm just like him. So I have to break this. I have to break this cycle. I have to heal not only myself, but I have to heal my children, because I don't want my children to carry this pain and force their children to carry this pain, to carry their pain. So I have to fix it. You know, like I say, I have to sit here and I'm gonna unpack every suitcase, because I'm gonna get the dirty clothes out of my clean clothes. Cause I wanna be happy. When I tell you, sis, I don't like being sad. I don't like being angry, because it took a toll on me. When I say physically, it took a toll, my blood pressure, my health. So this episode tonight was very necessary. It was very needed. Maybe not just for me, maybe for you, sis.
Yeah.
Maybe for the people that tuned in and are watching. But we gotta stop. We gotta stop holding these secrets, and we have to stop. We gotta break what we've been taught. Our I'm sorry, not taught, conditioned. Our whole lives, we gotta break that. We have to release this pain that we've been carrying around all these years. We have to release that hurt. At some point, you have to let it go, because it'll kill you. You know, it'll drive you to the brink of insanity. This is what causes depression. This is what causes anxiety. This is what causes these suicide attempts, because you don't know how to deal with the trauma. Because somebody told you, you don't tell nobody. Some people don't know how to write their feelings down. I'm one of those people. I don't know how to write. I can't, because I'm all over the place, because I have 1,099 things going around in my head. So me trying to write it down, it would probably look like jibber jabber. So we got to continue to address this trauma. We have to. This is what coincides, again, I cannot stress it enough. This is what coincides with mental illness. This is where you get the anxiety from. This is where you get the depression from. This is why the suicide rate is so high, because we're forcing people to hold this stuff in. You don't tell nobody. And the reason people don't tell nobody is because we sit and we gossip about them.
Yep. Can't talk to nobody.
And then we don't make it easy. We don't create safe places for people to come and talk to us. At some point, when somebody's reaching out to you, when they're in a crisis, stop making the conversation about you. I've had to learn that. And when I find myself doing it, I say, you know what? Oops, nope. This conversation is not about me. This is about you. So we have to stop doing that. Your suitcase, just because your suitcase is lighter than the next person, doesn't mean you don't carry the same amount of weight. You just make yours look good.
Your suitcase just got flowers on it.
Right. So we have to break this. Like I say, Black Girl Interrupted was created to be a safe space for us to talk about these interruptions. We all go through them. Your story may not be my story, but we all come from some type of trauma. It may not have been inflicted directly on us, but we've been around it. We've been around it. You may not have been the one that was molested, but you were around it. You may not have been the one that was abused, but you were around it. It affected you because you watched. That's trauma. No matter how you slice the bread, the pie, the cake, it's trauma. Again, your story may not be my story, sis, but you come from a place of trauma. I come from a place of trauma. No. We got to let it go. We have to talk about it, y'all. Stop judging people. This is why people don't talk. We have to stamp out that stigma on mental illness. And let people know it's okay. I may not know what it's like to walk in your shoes, but help me to understand. Where is the empathy? Where is the compassion? The trauma, man, the trauma. It's real. Some people keep it tucked away because they want to talk about it, but they can't talk about it. And you want to know why? Because someone's going to go tell somebody else, girl, did you know? Yeah, girl, Ashley. But you can't use my pain against me, baby, because I walk in my truth now. Y'all know my stories. I own that. And the reason why I own it, because I want to be free. I want to be free. I want to be healed. I want to pick up all those broken little pieces and put them back together. So that's where Ashley is right now in life. So to my daddy, I love you. I'm going to miss you more than anything in the world. And I forgive you.
There you go.
I have to forgive you for me. I have to forgive you for my children. I have to forgive you for my sister. And I have to forgive you for my mom.
It's okay.
So your final thoughts for tonight, sis.
Like my girl, she just say trauma. Let's talk about it. Don't let this be the way you live your life. We gotta break the cycle. So we gotta break the cycle. In the face of trauma, I want to prevail. And no, that's not the way I want to do these things. I don't want to feel the way I felt in that moment again. I don't want trauma to dictate my life. And I hope we can all sit down and, like I said, sort through these suitcases together. It's not going to be easy, but nothing isn't easy, y'all. It's my final thought.
My final thoughts for tonight. Y'all know I didn't want to get on here and boo-hoo y'all, but I did. Trauma is trauma is hurtful. It's everlasting, but it doesn't have to be. Trauma takes a toll on people in so many different ways. Like I say, it contributes to anxiety, depression, post traumatic stress. It's a big contributor. And until you are ready to unpack those suitcases, you're going to allow this to eat away at you, and eventually it will kill you. Although the person that hurt you or the people that hurt you, whomever hurt you, whatever hurt you got to forgive them for you, because if you don't forgive them, they keep the power over you. And it's all about taking back your power. When you forgive somebody, you have to take back your power. You have to forgive them, even if they don't tell you they're sorry. Trauma. We have to let that motto go. What goes on in this house stays in this house. We have to let that motto go. We have to break that. We absolutely have to break that. We have to stop forcing our loved ones to carry our pain. We have to stop forcing people to carry these suitcases that they didn't pack. At some point, you have to sit down and go suitcase by suitcase and snatch out them dirty ones and fold up the clean ones. I know it's hard. I know a lot of things are easier said than done, but you have to find somebody that's willing to help you go suitcase by suitcase. If you got 100 suitcases, find you somebody that's willing to sit down and go through every last one of those suitcases with you. Therapy. Don't be afraid to go and talk to somebody. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you needed a little help, a little more help unpacking this one particular suitcase you couldn't reach. That's what you do. We got to break this generational trauma. We have to. We have to heal for ourselves. We have to heal for our children. We have to heal for the people around us. And those are my final thoughts on trauma. Oh, sis.
I know.
It's been a lot. It's absolutely been a lot. So don't forget, go hit Colors by Keisha. Go get all your cosmetic needs. She's got some special items that are dropping soon. But right now, do you still have your sale going for the lipsticks?
Yeah, so the 5 for 20 is out. It's out. I have something else for y'all. So stay tuned because they gotta go. Just like your bad girlfriends and stuff, they gotta go. So it's coming, y'all.
I mean, I think I own all of them. Just
Yes,
about.
you do. You do. You do.
I think I do own about all of them. But y'all don't forget. And if you've been stimulated, go stimulate Colors by Keisha's website.
I'm telling you. I might
Go
do a
holla at
sale
her.
at midnight. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're doing a little stimmy sale?
Stimmy sale.
Oh. Don't tell me that, honey. Because
Stimmy.
I'll be on the web, baby. Don't tell me that because I'll be on the website at 12:01 a.m.
Stimulus sale. Use
Don't
code.
tell me that, girl. Don't say that. But y'all already know. Tune in with your girl every Tuesday, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Go follow Black Girl Interrupted on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go subscribe to Black Girl Interrupted on YouTube. I am available on all the streaming platforms. Man, y'all go holler at your girl. I'm back. I love y'all. I really absolutely do. Man, when I tell you tonight was absolutely much needed. Of course, I'll probably cry later. But tonight was absolutely much needed. Don't forget this Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Time, part 2 of Addressing Trauma. It's time to unpack those suitcases. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Man, go grab a friend. Go tell a friend. Y'all grab some Kleenex because y'all know we gets on here and I cry. Tonight was the first night Keish cried. Well, no, this was not the first time. But man, go grab a friend. Y'all come on, y'all tap in with your girl. Hit me up. I am on Clubhouse. So come hop off in one of the rooms. I am the moderator for Radio Clubhouse. So come holler at your girl. Like I say, I cannot thank y'all enough for all the continuous love, all the continuous support, for all the prayers, for all the comments, for all the messages, for all the phone calls. Thank y'all so much. When I and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end it. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have rocked with me from day one, and y'all still rock with your girl. And I appreciate that. That means so much to me. Thank you guys for understanding. Because actually the day my father passed away, I wanted to go live that night, but Y'all would have saw me with big puffy eyes and everything, but I love y'all. And like I say, don't forget this Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we're coming back with part 2 on addressing trauma. It's time to unpack those suitcases. For the next 3 weeks, we will be talking about everything in regards to mental health, suicide, depression, anxiety. Also, I will be coming to you guys live for us to discuss the George Floyd trial.
Mm-hmm.
That will be on Sunday. I need my calendar. Give me a second. I'm going to tell y'all. That will be Sunday, March the 28th. No, I'll let y'all know. But we are actually going to do an episode in regards to the George Floyd trial. I want to talk about it. I want to know what you guys think. So save all your comments for that episode. Y'all stay tuned for that. I will be posting that soon to let y'all know. I will have not only She-Eo of Kolours by Miss Kesh Mills, but I will also have Big Brother Will from the ADHD Hour podcast and the Black Male podcast. So it will be all three of us. I believe the trial starts, I think it's March the 29th.
So the
So
update on that, we'll
let
talk
me
about
see.
it. But they do have an update on it, being that the settlement was awarded. Chauvin is requesting, well, in his defense is requesting that the trial be delayed because now it will sway the jurors into believing that he's guilty because of the $27 million settlement. So yeah, it's more to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So March the 28th, you guys. Sunday, March the 28th, we will be discussing the George Floyd trial.
And we're gonna be live early, right?
Yes, that
Okay.
one will be early, uh, 5 o'clock
Okay.
Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So I do ask that when y'all come in, bring your comments, bring your questions. I will let everybody know. No arguing. Respect everybody's opinions. Respect
Yeah.
everybody's what everybody has to say in regards to the trial. Some people may feel like Derek Chauvin is not guilty. Some people may feel like he is guilty. But I do ask on that episode to be respectful of everybody. So March the 28th, y'all stay tuned. I will keep y'all posted and updated in regards to that. Um, Anything else you want to say, sis, before we go ahead and bring it to a close?
I'm gonna check about the streaming restrictions on that before we do up in the stream to see if we'll be able to stream the trial live. That way, people can watch it with us and the trial, and we can also discuss over it. If there's a comment or anything regarding to the case, so we can talk about it. None of us are lawyers. However, these are just the opinions of people of the host and guests of Black Girl Interrupted on that day. So none of us are lawyers. These are just opinions of the host of Black Girl Interrupted.
So just so y'all know, like I said, whew, this is heavy. But again, I do want to say thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Thank y'all for staying in touch and loving on your girl a little bit more. It makes it a little bit easier for me to deal with. But I do love y'all. And again, I will see y'all Thursday night, March the 18th, for part 2 of addressing trauma and unpacking those suitcases. So, love y'all. Everybody have a good night. And I'll see y'all Thursday.
Good night.